Ryan, have you ever criticized somebody?
You know, I have. Um, of course, I think a lot of it comes out in with riders, guys that I've grown up, even in the professional ranks riding with, even down to my teammates. I always was. I never really hid much, especially from like Marvin. I remember when Marvin came onto the circuit. I never hid from. I never hid anything from him to had any secrets. I kind of shared with him openly. I liked Marvin, but of course, there was multiple times that I remember Marvin was going through a tough time actually, thinking of a scenario. It was the first year of his 450 year. And as a 250 rider, you only do 7, 8 races at the most, but we hit that.
Supercross season.
Yeah, we hit that 10, 11 races already, and you could just see it was that, like the first year it does to a 450 guy, it wears on a guy. And I saw that. I saw him kind of in this rut, and a couple days went by, and he was kind of down. His attitude wasn't good, and I could see he just wasn't enjoying it. It was just an attitude adjustment it looked like needed. And we would drive out to the track. I would drive him home from the track sometimes. His wife would leave early, and it's like, yeah, I'll give him. We had gym still to do, so I gave him a ride home, and I just felt like I needed to say something to him, and so I just said, you know what, Marv? Like, I see you're frustrated. I see you're having a hard time out there. I let him know, like, that's not the way to go about it. I know, I don't want to say to your neck like I know it all, but I went right through what you're going through.
Yeah.
And, and I kind of some of the similar stuff that you applied to me, just how we get to race for a living. We get to do this. We don't have to. I wanted to more try to help him change his perspective, because I could see, I told him, you have a bad attitude, and that we just need to correct it, change it, have a positive, see things in a better light. And, because changing your thinking, it'll change how you feel. So I was like, okay, let's talk through this. And sometimes I think it's good to just have somebody else to talk with about it. But I wouldn't say I put my foot in my mouth, but the next weekend, we went to the race that week, and he came out swinging. I was like, but it was cool to see the change.
That he had a good reaction.
Yeah, it's like you could see the change in him. And from his attitude when he got to the track, during the week, everything. It's almost life got better for him after that, and all it was just like was just complete honesty. I didn't say like you're terrible. It's just sometimes it's just that honest criticism, and so it was cool to see. It's kind of the first time like I seen it benefit somebody like that, and but of course the guy has to be open and to listen. And Marvin was he's a really good listener and a learner. Like he really wants to learn, and that was also why I feel like he received it warmly, not in a bad way. So.
Yeah, and coming from a champion, it also makes you pay more attention, I think.
Yeah. So Raj, have you ever been criticized and were able to learn something from it?
And it's good that somebody keeps you in check, that stops you and say, hey, this is a step too far, or you're wrong, you're simply wrong, you need to backtrack. That's not the right way. And but like criticism for criticism, that's not good either. Some people, they criticize everything that that happens around them, and they know better on everything. But if you ask them, well, how would you do it, then they don't really have an answer either. So, but I think if you criticize someone with the right intentions, and you can point out, what can be improved on how you should change whatever they're talking about, then it can be really helpful and help you grow and get better at what you do. Ryan, what comes to your mind when you get criticized? What is what you're thinking?
I kind of get excited in a way, and I know it sounds crazy, but it's like I feel like I'm going to learn something. Especially, I say that if it's coming from people that I'm really close with, that know me, that really truly know me, like that close circle of people, and you being one of them, of course. I always look back at. I remember when I just came into my professional career, I was such a sponge. But you know, of course, I was open to learning. I wanted to learn, so of course that was good for you, giving me criticism, because you know I would receive it in a good way. But at that stage of my life, I learned that when I would listen and then I would apply it, even whether I knew it was right or wrong or not, you know, if I would apply it, there was always kind of somewhat of a benefit from it. You know, I mean, maybe sometimes I didn't want to hear it, but
Yeah, I often, my first instinct is like getting defensive, you know,
yeah,
in general. But then, especially with my wife, then I think about it. Maybe she's right, you know, and then think more about, yeah, she is definitely right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that, you know, when I do think deeper about it, of course, if it's coming from Lindsay, it's easy to. I'm pretty stubborn, actually. It's easy to kind of be like, kind of get defensive right away. I guess if it was more in the sport of what we were talking about, I felt like criticism from you was always. I never took it in a way that was. I knew it could be my best friend in a way. It could help me. You could show me something by being honest, that something that I was doing wrong or do it better. But yeah, of course, if it's coming from Lindsay and you know you want to be Mr. Right, and you're like, oh, even my wife, I'll correct her, and she's like, no, it's not. Like you're right, you know, and you kind of have to just play the game. But of course, it is easy to get defensive at times, but there is a lot of potential in learning a lot within it too. So in a way, it's kind of, you don't want to hear it, but then when you listen and take the time to do so, you really. It's pretty benefiting, yeah. When you see the results, especially too. Do you remember any times that you criticized me, and what was it for?
When after winning you drop your bike on the ground and celebrating, you know, and
Yeah.
I feel it's a form of it's kind of disrespectful to the crew that put a lot of time and energy and dedication in making the bike as perfect as it can be, and you know, and make everything like really perfect. I really like to see you guys having the best prepared bike, even details that may not be important sometimes. But I want everybody on the team to respect those guys' work, and when a racer throws his equipment away, it's just like a tennis player that makes a mistake or something, or throws his racket away, you know, breaks it intentionally. That's not cool, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, some people can't even afford to do some
right.
of that the stuff we get to do like that.
And so the over celebrating and being destructive with the equipment, you know, was always a big bother for me.
Yeah.
And but you never did it after that. You won many races after, but you never did it again.
Yeah, my head was getting a little too high in the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I needed that for sure.
Yeah.
Win and lose the same. I was celebrating. That was a little too much for sure. Yeah.
Even this new, what is becoming a tradition now after winning a championship, to do the burnout until the tire explodes.
Yeah.
I was part of it myself because I got pushed by our Austrian,
The peer pressure.
you know, peer pressure, but it doesn't feel good to me.
No, I don't like. I mean, we talk about that all the time. Just, I said, Roger, only do it if you're going to do it, and not to. But you get all this pressure from. I wish we could tell like it's.
But
I feel like it's. I don't like revving the bike that much. I don't even like disrespecting it like that on the track.
right.
I don't like revving my bike too much on the track. I just.
The funny thing is that there's so many people that think it was cool that they put up a frame in the conference room at the factory in Austria.
Yeah.
Nice new building, beautiful conference room. They have a blown up rear wheel framed, you know, and
Roger did this.
yeah.
I think they go through maybe a worse beating when they go through the dyno, huh? The dyno tests.
Yeah.
On the getting them through production.
Yeah. What do you take from this? What do you take away from it?
I think just keeping an open mind. you know, I wouldn't say let everybody come in and just start telling you everything and start judging you and telling you, because that's where it's going to get confusing, of course. But, you know, the people you're closest to, and if they have something to say, and that, you know, I mean, be honest with yourself too, you know, be honest about changing, be honest about being open, and listen to what other people say, and go as far as even asking the question. I would sometimes, that's what I did. Give me your honest criticism about me. What do you think? What's your thoughts about this? And then you can dissect it, reflect on it, and ultimately apply the positivities and move forward and, yeah, become a better person, better athlete, better everything.